here. How you doing, Tamara? How you doing, Jake, Bernard, Stefania, Melanie? I feel like everyone is already here, so I'm going to start the process. I do not have a guest speaker, only because sometimes that involves a little bit of uh, good connection. Thankfully, last week I had it. This week I don't, but I'm going to try again. I thought it was a great class last time. I know that we didn't have video lecture before, but it's okay because we're getting to the end of the book. Believe it or not, we're actually way ahead. These next two classes will be on part 5, and we're done. There's nothing else. In some of the courses, some of the semesters we've never even gotten to part 5. So it looks like we're doing super well. I'm going to see and check in how many. 10 viewers. Very well. People like the class. I did see some of the discussions, both of them from about 2 weeks ago. I really appreciate your input. I think it was well done. Some of you guys articulate very, very well. I'm happy about that because this is why you take this course. I can tell by the end of the semester how well you write. And some of you actually bolded the terms that were needed and capitalize them. And this is how we speak, guys. This is how the world speaks in terms. You could tell who knows about stocks by the terms they use. You can tell who knows about real estate by the terms they use. You can absolutely tell who knows about cooking by the terms they use. You see, this is the language. You're not here to learn anything but a language. So if you have taken my course, you probably speak in these terms, and you're getting better at it. Okay. And if anybody let me know what's your favorite term you've learned so far. Mine is premise. I like to use it a lot just because it gives me an idea that most people need 3 premises for a claim, which is my second favorite word. So let me know what's in there. What do you guys like? We start on part 5 on page 98. Hello, Kelly. Yours is problem solving, Tamara. Okay, I don't mind it. Good. Decisions and problem solving are pretty important. I was probably looking for a little more, a deeper, term. And let's see. So we'll start, Tamara, but I think I'm going to challenge you, Tamara. I think you give me another one. So objective 33, understanding decision support systems. Decision support system, DSS. And you'll see that in business, there is a lot of terms that are acronyms. DSS is one of them, right? Interactive software designed to help you compile useful information from raw data, documents, and business knowledge. IBM stands for International Business Systems, okay? And that's an acronym, absolute acronym. So this is kind of up the IBM's alley. IBM is one of the first computers. Remember, the word compute means, to add data together, compile it, and give you a result. Okay. Add objectivity to making decisions. Decision support software requires you to clearly define the issues, identify relevant information, and determine how factors are related. That word factor you see a lot in multiple areas of academia. And in our case, factors is some kind of variable, right? And analyze, if you use the word analyze, it actually means, I believe it's a root word, ana, which is Latin, which means to go back through the information and see what it's about, okay? Improve efficiency for complex decisions. Complex decisions typically involve gathering lots of detailed information and then ranking or assigning weights to each factor. A computer can store information and make complex calculations much more efficiently than people can. If some of you are wondering what the keywords that are happening right now is called machine learning and artificial intelligence. And we'll talk about that later on a little bit. But a computer has not replaced us humans because we make decisions. We take raw data, which a computer has, and we don't just compute because the computer computes. The computer could give you a calculation. The computer could give you orders. It can go through a scenario, but we make decisions. because decisions are not just based on logic. It's based on consensus. It's based on multiple things. It's funny enough, if it was just logic, if it was just reason alone, decisions would be much more simpler, and which means we wouldn't have to make it. Well, this is why computers can't replace us. It is changing with artificial intelligence and machine learning, but we'll talk more about that. Encourage exploration and discovery. Decision support tools help you visualize data, illustrate problems, and graphically represent options to solutions. So again, getting out there, getting this data. You know, when you do a dissertation, at least for me, through my program, they ask us to get tons of data. The more dots, the better the graph looks, right? If it's just one line, two dots, then it doesn't really tell you much. And then you got provide support for a particular decision. As a member of an organization, you must always be prepared to support the decisions you make. So let's say you do make a decision, a certain decision. So you're trying to make a decision of where to go to eat Chinese food. A good support would be the reviews of the places where you want to go eat Chinese food. That is a good supporting your decision. That way you can convince others that that is a good idea. That way when you go there, you made the right decision. Right decision equals a good experience in a Chinese place, right? So that's important. And help communicate decisions to other interested people. Describing the thought process that go into making a complex decision or solving an involved problem can be difficult. It really can. Decision support tools and their models can help you more efficiently, effectively communicate your ideas to interested stakeholders. So a stakeholder, we talked about what that is. There's another word I love, stakeholders. So it's everybody that has some kind of stake in the situation. That could be a customer, that could be a supplier, that could be an employee, etc. It's the whole enchilada, right? So when you're trying to communicate the decision to interested people, that's when you back it up with support. Okay. So let's see what you guys have for discussion. Remember, I'm grading discussions here. You may want to give some good ones with some good raw support, raw data and support. Again, these are all the terms I'm using from the book. Adding distance to the place, they have the type of food could also be data to include. That's right. It's good support. How far away is this Chinese food you're trying to get, Jake? The stakeholders are everyone, yes. Yes, Kelly, it's everyone that has some kind of interest on the situation. You have to see it as kind of sort of like a circle and then the issues in the middle, and it could be back and forth. Even a stakeholder could be competitor. That's a stakeholder in some way, right? How if you Google a place, a restaurant, it also tells you how much time people spend there and what the business times are. Very right, Stefania. So you're supporting your decision by saying, well, this is the greatest Chinese food in Houston. However, it's going to take forever for me to eat there and I only have 2 hours, right? So these are all decisions. This is funny because some of you have made decisions easily on the fly. You know, some of you have had tough times making decisions. Both of you, the ones that just make decisions on the fly and the ones that take forever to make a decision, could use this book because you're supporting your data to something out there that you will make a decision on. Grab a decision, back it up, right? And this is what computers are kind of doing nowadays. They're getting there with machine learning and artificial intelligence. So keep talking about that, right? Modeling decisions quantitatively. You guys have to realize that, you know, I'm an MBA, okay? And business schools are very much divided into two things, quantitative and qualitative research. And quantitative is real simple, is taking everything and measuring it, okay? And this is where data comes in. So when you want to pour X amount of water into your rice, your quantitative, using quantitative numbers, hey, I want 3 quarts on that rice. That's quantitative. Anything you take and you put numbers into it. So if a decision comes in, and this is important for you to know, the difference between quantitative and qualitative. If a decision comes in and you're like, well, what is the GPA of the students that are going to get hired? You will look at a GPA, therefore you're making a decision of quantitative numbers. What is the attitude of these students that are going to be hired? Are they hard workers? None of that is quantitative. You can't measure it. So it's qualitative. See, those are the two different things that you have to understand. So when solving complex problems, gather all the data you can relate to the problem. then you can model your decision quantitatively. Model it, okay? So let me give you an example of a model. I want to buy a car. When I get out to a car company, I'm going to use my phone, bluebook.com, and I'm going to look at the value and offer $3,000 under the retail value of bluebook.com. That's a model. You see how I could use that for everything? I could go out there and find any type of car. It's $3,000 under Blue Book value. That's going to be my offer. Understand that that is a model because I calculated. I could even put this into a spreadsheet, and I can even calculate other offers I'm going to submit on cars. That is absolutely a model. So that's another word for your vocabulary, model. So modeling is another one, right? Assign numeric values to your data. Gather your data and you can measure. You can gather the data you can measure, which includes numeric variables such as price, weight, temperature, square footage, and sales per week. And that's not just, it could be quantitative in the sense that, real simple, your experience. Rate your experience on your trip. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, okay? If you went to, let's say, in somewhere in Texas where there's mountains, what was your experience? 8. Then you went somewhere there's a river, oh, it was so nice, 10. Then you went somewhere where it was a casino and it was a 5. You see, you're still quantitative putting things together. You're taking something qualitative and put it into a number, okay? I'll tell you, it says quantitative amount, qualitative, the quality of the product can't be measured. Some qualitatives can turn into quantitative, I'll tell you, but you're on the right path. That's very right. Yes, same model for comparing cars. Qualitative data is much easier for me to understand, and I feel like knowing which you understand could be a big help in your life. For example, if I'm a manager of a store and I could choose between looking at sales numbers in the spreadsheet or seeing it in more picture form, I would get my job done quicker. That's right, Jake. If you're looking to buy a store, you probably should look at the numbers and see how they're doing. That's quantitative data, right? Reviews, some people will say it doesn't qualify too much as quantitative. There is a number system, so 1 through 5, but it's still very based on qualitative, right? On the quality. These two, quantitative, qualitative, you see these two everywhere, not just in decision model, but you also see it in finance. Again, big deal in the business world. We're in between those two. We straddled both. A mathematician would say, I would only look at numeric data, only make quantitative decisions. Someone in psychology would say, well, you need to look at the quality of how things can make people feel. So don't think that both dichotomies, that don't think one is better than the other. That's not the way it works. You should consider both, right? Rate subjective variables. In addition to getting objective data, you can collect subjective data. For example, you might want to poll the Quest staff to determine the preference for opening a new office in LA, right? So you're taking something qualitative into quantitative. Again, that's like a review, right? Use a decision model to make numeric data useful. Organize it into a decision model, which is one of the more formulas that includes all of the relevant variables to calculate a result. We do this always, guys. We absolutely do. In fact, when you go to the hospital, God forbid any of you guys go to an ER anytime soon, they'll ask you, what is your pain level, 1 through 10? They're trying to understand how much pain you have, and you rate it. You rate it. That's absolutely one of the qualitatives to quantitatives methods, a model that they use, right? Alrighty, so that's objective 34. Let me see what you guys are saying. Models are unique representation. It doesn't have to be unique, Morales. It could be somehow, it could be a tactic, which is something that you use for multiple things. So not just unique. It could be customized, yes. Gathering data is good at starting a business. Sandra, absolutely. Just tell me why. Why would that be a good thing? You just forgot the why. See, you just made a claim. I need those premises, okay? Decision model can be used to make almost everyday choices, help you choose where to make groceries. H-E-B versus Randall's, very useful. Yes, Octavia, the only thing I would like to see after that statement is why H-E-B? Why Randall's? Is it price? Is it location? Is it distance from your house to there? Is it the customer service? And remember, customer service is qualitative, but the reviews from the customer service is quantitative. So see how that works. As a manager, I want to look at the quantitative data of last year's sales and decide how many extra workers I need for that special day. That is called scaling, Bernard. not a decision theory term, but it's a very hot technology term, scaling. Tamra, when it comes to reviews, at least for restaurants, it can be difficult to really hold a lot of value on those because I was a general manager. People were more apt to be vocal if someone was not happy, but when people are happy, they usually don't speak up. So it's kind of a hit or miss when it comes to restaurant reviews. That's just my observation from being in the food industry in the past. Absolutely correct, Tamara. This is the same situation we had 2 weeks ago. People who aren't happy are love to get online, love to talk to the chair about situations, but the ones that are satisfied forget to do that. This is unfortunate because if you could actually be satisfied, put a review for these restaurants. They need it. That way they could continue their service. This is something that I like to call, it doesn't exist in academia, but I like to call social capitalism. If you like what you're doing, if you love that restaurant, help it become a better business. So the way it continues to give service to the community, because it's not just a dollar value. That restaurant could go away. It could go away by a couple of people that don't like it or got a little bit bitter when it was absolutely a great restaurant. This is why I'm hoping that nowadays we encourage positive reviews as well, not just negative ones. Funny, negative ones you don't have to make a push for. People will gladly give you a negative review. Another example is picking a major. The more information you get on a certain major, the more you're likely to pick that major. You'll have to look at the type of jobs the major offer and many other factors. That is right, Tyrone. In fact, if you go to the Department of Labor, they have statistics to give you students, which I'm hoping you do, especially if you already took your personality test, the one I gave you, where you can find out what you're meant to do, kind of according to that survey. Remember, taking it with a grain of salt. But take that and go to the labor statistics and see how your personality test matches with payment, compensation, right? So that is a great idea. This class should be first to be taken by students so they can make a good decision in their careers. Because remember, all of you guys are doing this for one purpose, to get out there in the business world. And absolutely you want to know, right? Make decisions. Describing data objectively. Okay, remember the word objectively, it's a dichotomy of subjectively. In academic world, maybe I can help you this. Remember what Professor Puente said. Professors, okay, through time, they love dichotomies. So the opposite of objectively is subjectively, right? The opposite of quantitative is qualitative. You're gonna see this over and over again. Learn these, absolutely learn these dichotomies. So objective comes from object, as in not the object, not the item, but objective. Okay, like where are you going to? Objective, right? Subject is a little bit under that, so it's kind of seen a little bit of moralism in there. Octavia says, yes, Tyrone, great example. Salary, the amount of travel required, and the amount of hour required weekly. Absolutely. All right, so mean, the arithmetic mean. If you have taken statistics, I don't know if any of you guys have taken statistics. Mean is the center of that course. Understanding mean, because it's not just an average. It's a little different than average. You have to understand it. So arithmetic means value set of data is usually referred to as the average. The mean is most common descriptive statistic and is simply to compute them on the grades. So the way how the class is doing. There's also called the mode, right? You can look that up. And there's a few others that you can know about statistics. The median, here are the other three I forgot. The median value set of data is at the point that separates the higher values from the lower values. So what's the median? And in the mode, set of data is the value that occurs most frequently. So mode is real simple. You have a whole bunch of data. What number shows up mostly? The median is the range, right? And the mean is right in the middle of the average, okay? A standard deviation, okay? And this is what I do in my statistics class for my PhD course. Measure variability of set of data. In fact, the other day I went over to a medical school. I was there, and one of the things they absolutely said was they want you to know standard deviation. They call it variability of data. That's what they call it. But let me tell you, standard deviation, you must know. You don't have to know anything about statistics, guys. If you don't take the course, don't worry about it. Know standard deviation. Know what that is. Know what's a 1 standard deviation, 2 standard deviation, 3 standard deviation. That's really important. In fact, believe it or not, God forbid it happens to any of you guys anytime soon. But when you have cancer, they give you standard deviation of how you can survive. And it's funny because that's how you can tell your because they take means of people of how long they lived after they found out, and then they tell you how far off you are from the middle. So understand, do me a favor, go to YouTube, find out how to, what standard deviation really is. You need to have its own little 50-minute on it, okay? Last objective, but let's see what's going on here. Kelly, Auntie Anne's Pretzels, has a survey and offers free pretzel when people take time to share their company customer interaction. This free, quotation, offer encourages satisfied customers to review their experience. Okay. So I'm guessing, Kelly, you're saying that it's a good idea that they kind of push the free, so you can give them some kind of decision on your pretzel. Yeah, very good idea. It's also on the company to push. That's right. Gathering data is good for forecasting a business and progress of estimating the future demand of their products and services. That's right, Sandra. Funny enough, the number one thing to tell you in investing when you deal with stocks, which I kind of look at it about every day, is future performance. No, past performance is not indicative of future performance. So even though all the data is about the past, it doesn't mean the future is going to be there. But again, it's trash in, trash out. You still need some data to make decisions. Chick-fil-A also gives out free sandwiches to customers after doing a survey. That's the way to get customers' reviews as well. Yeah, very good. That's very true. Another way to kind of put in the data to make decisions later. So working with formulas and functions, there's something called an algorithm, okay? This book is kind of, I want to say 3 years old, but the hot word right now is an algorithm. Anybody want to define an algorithm for me, please go ahead. Because now we're using the word formula, but it's getting a little antiquated. Maybe what's the difference between the two, right? Format your formulas. Constructing formulas in a spreadsheet is slightly different from entering formulas by hand using a calculator or pencil. Most spreadsheets require you to start a formula with an equal sign. So this is just kind of tell you, format them. This is why you go to high school and you learn a little bit about Excel to at least know what it does, okay? It's a great tool to keep up and keep your budget informed, all right? Use cell references. You can enter numbers directly in a spreadsheet formula, but doing so limits your flexibility. It's absolutely true. You have to edit your spreadsheet every time value changes, okay? A cell reference is a pointer that you include in the formula to tell the spreadsheet where to find. Some of you guys will know how to do that very well. Double check your mathematical operator. Math is precise, and a typo or any other mistake in the formula can render the calculation useless. Funny enough, this is the part of the book that I'm like, well, we're teaching the students about Excel. And some of you are like, well, I know Excel. Some of you don't understand how Excel works. So it's very intricate. Try to kind of understand the deep idea of Excel and how that goes together. Stephania says, algorithm is a process of rules to be followed to solve problems. Really, an algorithm, Octavia, it's a calculation that gives you a guaranteed result. It gives you, so in other words, Google has algorithms. And if you Google a certain word, it gives you that answer that you wanted. And it tries to get very, very close to the result you wanted. This is why Google says, am I right? And you click no or not. Google is very, very intricate on their search. So if you go to Google and you type in cleaners, it doesn't give you the cleaner, the cleaner of a CD. It gives you a cleaner of a house, something that you definitely actually was looking for. Okay, so that's why it's an algorithm. And it's very hot right now because, again, AI and machine learning. I'll talk that last, right? Simplify with functions. Functions are program formulas, so simply common mathematical tasks. Spreadsheet programs include functions to support statistical, engineering, mathematical, financial calculations, right? Argument values are arguments or cell references that function uses in this calculation. So some of this you can actually know pretty well. I'm not big about you kind of learning more about Excel, but knowing what it's about, right? Learning how to work in Excel is huge in company. I was able to teach my managers new tricks on how to speed up their job. These are the tools you have to make you more efficient, and what they do help a lot. Absolutely. It's very true, Jake. Let me tell you what I was going to say. I'll leave you guys with this, the hot words, right? Machine learning. This is what I love about Google, right? Ooh, okay. I guess I did not get what I was looking for. But machine learning, let's just go what machine learning is about. Okay. What's the difference between that and I'll go to Wikipedia because now this is probably the much updated information. But machine learning is real simple, guys. Computers would take data and compute. In other words, the data you put into Excel, it gives you a calculation, an equal sign, right? This is if you give Excel a whole bunch of data, it'll still calculate. It'll just calculate faster than you. Okay. Machine learning is a little different. Machine learning is like taking your data, adding it, computing it, and learning what it did wrong, and inputting it again, and learning what it did wrong, and inputting it again. So it goes back and forward until it becomes a person, a decision. It uses decision tree learning, it uses association by rule learning, or artificial neural networks. It really goes into learning something. So a good example of this is automatic drivers. Okay, automatic drivers are vehicles right now that they're vehicles like this, and they drive themselves. Believe it or not, they're having where you can let go of the wheel and it just goes. But it learns. It picks up. Okay, here's a curve. Computes it. Well, next time, don't hit that. Go left. Go right. And this is where Tesla, especially, is getting really good at. So computers are starting to not just compute, but make decisions. And this is where people, I guess, a little scary because our book, we're learning how to make decisions, but computers can do this if it gets to learn. If pretty much a computer goes to college, okay, it could do it faster than you. Okay, so this is where some people don't agree with machine learning or artificial intelligence. Some of those are high up there in the technology field because computers can end up doing better than we can. Now, that decision it's not really interfere. It's all logic. It doesn't really interfere with feelings or emotions yet, right? And I think once it does, it will definitely make a big breaking point. From my experience, the functions are widely used, but it really depends on the application. Well, that's it, guys. Let me know your words a little bit about machine learning. What do you guys think? Is it scary? Is it good? More on the positive side for it. But again, I'm a very big technology guy. Thank you for your items. We had the quiz last week. I'll have something else this week. The projects are coming the last 2 weeks of the semester. But we only have one more objective in this book, and we've done it all. So congratulations. You have any questions, let me know. Let me know if one of you guys want to be my guest speaker next week, my last one. And that's it. You have any questions? Have a good night, okay?